Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Kolt, and we're continuing our conversations in the Lansing School District, and I am honored to have a couple of Lansing's brightest students. I hope that doesn't embarrass you at all, but Alex and Alexis, members of the junior board for the Lansing School District. And Alex, you're a veteran. You've been here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll turn it over to Alexis for an introduction.
Well, my name's Alex Mullen. I've been in the junior board since my freshman year in high school. Now I'm a senior, and I'm actually the president of the junior board, so it's been a long time spent with this program.
And so what do you like in school? What do you study? What do you appreciate?
I'm a fan of English and history, a lot of written word kind of stuff. Some more biology as well.
Great. Alexis, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a junior at Everett High School. I've been on junior board since the 7th grade. I'm vice president, and next year I will be president. That's about it.
Great. Well, hey, tell us a little bit about what the junior board is and does. And I know every year you have a big 3.5 dinner and event. And I want you to talk a little bit about it because I'm not sure that people understand or appreciate all the work that you do that goes into that.
Well, the main point of the junior board is to work on reflecting what students want and ultimately, helping students reach some sort of communication between the school district and the individual schools. And so the 3.5 Honors Banquet actually helps us recognize those students that have a 3.5 grade point average or higher, and how they've achieved and succeeded throughout their high school years. So it's just a night of honoring that commitment to studies and different aspects of their life as a student that they've really succeeded in.
And I think a lot of people, but shouldn't be surprised that there are so many students who qualify.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of committed students at Lansing schools. Eastern, Everett, and Sexton are all great places to get your education.
And Alexis, as the incoming president, at least you will be next year, what do you learn from this kind of experience with the banquet?
I think overall it's just good, and I haven't really stayed for the whole thing before because I'm involved in sports and stuff, and I always have like a sports event on the day. And this year will actually be my first time to actually stay for the whole thing, and I'm glad that I get to. And so normally I just help set up, and overall it's just a good experience.
Well, so both of you are actually involved in junior board and a lot of other things. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about some of the other activities that you might be involved with, or a lot of other students are involved with in the school district.
Well, in Eastern, at least, where I'm from, we have, your typical sports teams and different clubs, but I'm actually in some of the lesser-known ones, like our Quiz Bowl team. I'm the Quiz Bowl captain, so I've been in that for 4 years as well, since my freshman year. But I'm also in the marching band, so it's a great group, a lot of different people to meet in there.
Well, people probably are familiar with the marching band, but the Quiz Bowl thing is really makes you an elite Eastern student, doesn't it, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like to think so.
And so what do you do with that? Do you rehearse? Do you practice for the Quiz Bowl on WKAR?
It's just meeting for different practices, throughout the week sometimes. It's just a lot of basic trivia questions, and you'll have science, math, history, different aspects of art like music and painting, sculptures. So it's just a lot of general stuff. Really, anybody could get into it.
And Alexis, you said you were involved in some athletic competitions. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about some of the extra things you do.
Like sports-wise?
Sure.
Or, well, I'm on the volleyball team since freshman year, and softball. I've been playing on that team since freshman year as well. And I'm going to be a part of NHS, which is National Honor Society. I'll be inducted sometime this year, and right now we're just working on like community service hours, and you have to have 20. And like the big ones that we do are like the blood drives and stuff at our school. And we just recently had one of those. I volunteered at that for like 3 hours, I believe. And I also donated. and sports-wise, it's just a good thing to do, and people know you around the school, and you get a good name.
Well, and so what are young people talking about in this school district? Alex, I think you, being an Eastern student, people are probably wondering about the Eastern situation, what's going on. Tell us a little bit about what young people are talking and thinking about.
Well, especially at Eastern, I'm guessing, we have a lot of people feeling, a bit of pain from losing the building that we're currently in right now. It's really old. It's a family place almost that, a lot of different families have gone through generations of students going to that school. But I think ultimately it's, great that this bond proposal is happening. It's helping these students be able to get their education in a different location, somewhere that might be more suited for students of our time right now. And although it's a hard thing to lose, a building that's got so many memories and so many different events that have happened in the past around it, it's ultimately something that, could be beneficial for the district as a whole, I think.
Yeah, you kind of know or know that things have a life cycle, and probably the building at Eastern's been around. It doesn't change anything with the community. Everybody who still goes to Eastern will just be moving a couple blocks away, but there must be a lot of sentimentality that's expressed by students.
Yeah. Once you have a building that's around that long, people get attached to it. Even if they haven't attended that school necessarily, it's still a part of the community, which I think is one reason why I'm glad that Sparrows agreed to keep part of the building in its current state, to preserve that historic value of it.
Yeah. And both of you are probably thinking about the bond proposal. As students, you will really want to be able to study in the best facilities possible, and that's the next step forward in the May election. So what's the conversation among students about the bond proposal?
I don't really think a lot of people know about it, because it was new to me when they presented it at the board meeting. So I don't think a lot of people know.
So is it your responsibility to help get the word out? Because
I think so.
Yeah.
I think students will be really important,
Yeah.
what you say on the success of the bond.
Especially student voters. I myself am over the age of 18, so I'll be voting for that bond proposal. And so, getting the word out and turning some of those feelings, especially at Eastern, toward the future, I think would be a really good use of the junior board. Just getting the word out about the bond proposal and what it could mean for students in the Lansing School District.
Well, and I've heard from the Board of Education that one of the things they're going to ask the junior board student members to do is be involved in the development and how all of the dollars are being spent and how things will look. Everybody kind of wants the best and new facilities, so you'll play a great role in the future. And Alexis, you've got you probably aren't old enough to vote, but it doesn't mean you can't encourage people to vote, right? Mm-hmm. So now, what will you tell people, Alex? Why is this vote so important to you?
Well, besides, a lot of people might be discouraged by that extra little bit of money that they're going to have to give out of their paycheck, but I think ultimately it's something that'll benefit the Lansing area, because it does really update our schools and updates the kind of materials we have to work with, and actually the programs at the same time. So they're plans that'll really benefit everyone, I think, in the end, for just a little bit.
And so what if I told you, now this may be a surprise to most people, but the bond proposal that's up in May is actually replacing an expiring bond, so for a lot of people it will be just a fractional increase, maybe a dime a day. How does that sell for young people?
I think that's good, because plus when back to why it's important, also because they want their children to go to a good school and have heat and all that stuff, and not a bad school in bad condition and stuff, and they're gonna be renovating them to make them way better schools than they are. And also I remember they talked about at the board meeting like kids can go like they choose their path and like it's like a certain school, like you stick to that school route.
Yeah, well, let's talk about then the entire concept of what's been introduced as the pathway promise. And Alex, you're probably, you know, on the end of that whole idea, but for a lot of students, determining the pathway that they get an education is kind of important, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, yeah, that's a big thing when a student's deciding to go to school, where they're going to go to high school. I myself considered the IB program that Eastern offers when I was choosing a high school because I came from outside of the district. And so I went there because of the program that they offered, but I think that, you know, the Pathway Promise programs really do offer a lot more than what we currently have in different schools. Yeah. So it's just something more to get people into the Lansing School District and focusing on that.
And we don't want you to stop just at your education in Lansing. We want you to think of beyond to a higher education. Are you thinking about that now as a junior, Alexis?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a long time since I've known what I wanted to be since the 7th grade, so and it hasn't changed yet.
And what is that?
I'd like to be a forensic scientist.
Great. And Alex, what about you?
Right now, I'm not exactly sure myself, but I'm looking into something involving journalism and communications in college.
Yeah. Well, and if you were to choose with the Pathway Promise, LCC or Michigan State University, they certainly have programs that would work. And how important do you think that the Promise Scholarship is to students? Because you've got to create the pathway before you get to the Promise.
I think it's really vital that, you know, students know that there are options for them, because I think a lot of students aren't aware that their school district and their people around them are, you know, working for them to have a better future than they might see for themselves. So it's just really important that they know that there are more options out there, that they can, you know, find that scholarship and find a, you know, higher education after high school.
Yeah. And so what other things are the junior board members talking about this year? Because I think the public would be interested to know what the students are thinking, what the conversations are.
Well, right now there's, in our first meeting of the year, in I think September, we focused on developing 2 themes for the year. And so that was, those 2 themes came out to be discipline and renovation. And right now we've been focusing especially on renovation, considering we do have a huge bond proposal coming up that would be focused almost entirely on renovation of the buildings in the school district. So we actually had a lot of communication with Ms. Yvonne Kamal-Kanul and ourselves, the junior board, where she actually came in and presented what that bond proposal would be proposing.
It's pretty,
you know,
pretty big, isn't it?
It is pretty impressive, yeah, definitely.
And so it's hard to share all of the detail with information, but you can explain to other students how important and big the bond proposal is. Mm-hmm. And Alexis says you are looking forward to a year being president. What are you thinking about? I mean, Alex, you talked about discipline, and I'll get back to you in a second, Alexis, but you talked about discipline. Why is that important?
I think it's just important that students have, you know, through discipline, not only a level of respect for the people around them and, you know, different teachers and authority figures, but also just self-discipline and, you know, maintaining a certain commitment to what they're doing at the time and their studies and focuses.
It's not really discipline in disciplining bad students, but it's also discipline in yourself, in making sure that you keep your commitments.
Respecting yourself and your environment.
Yeah. And so, Alexis, what do you look forward to in the next year when you're president?
I don't know, really.
You don't have to know right now, but you're thinking about it, right? And I would imagine that some of these issues, like discipline or renovation, will continue.
Yeah, a lot of them do. Like, a lot of the years we focused on, like, bullying and stuff, and the food issue as well.
Yeah, and is the food better?
Yeah, the food is way better than last year.
And the food contractor, Sodexo Magic, is in and listening to students.
They come in here a lot, almost like every meeting, one of their representatives are in here.
Yeah. And what have you told them? What have you seen really happen as you give them feedback to something? What's really occurred?
They keep it like the same. Like if we give them positive feedback, they keep on doing that. And if we give them negative feedback, more than likely they'll change it.
Yeah.
They really work to
us.
suit the students' tastes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll try out new foods and stuff. Like they try it out at Everett. And if like we don't like it, then they think that like the other high schools and stuff won't like it. So then they just take that away.
So you're kind of a test laboratory
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
That's great. And so, Alex, you've seen the food improve over time.
Yeah, from my freshman year to this year, we've had, I think, 2 different food contractors. And I'd have to say that Sodexo Magic has been, the one I've seen most working to communicate with students and see what our different tastes are and what, our different likes and dislikes would be.
Well, that's great. And that's a role where we really rely on students to give feedback, because you can't make positive change unless you really have an idea what your perception is of everything. So you feel listened to. Hey, how about classes? I know a lot of students are in a test-taking mode around this time of year, but are you or other students thinking about advanced placement and other things, going off to college and determining where you might be going?
Yeah, right now, ever since junior year, a lot of conversation amongst my peers and myself has been, where are you going to college? How are you going to pay for college? What are the different things you're doing to get into that? And so it's just a big focus, I think, among students.
Yeah, and Alexis, you're thinking about that too, even as a junior.
Yeah, I'm looking into a whole bunch of different schools right now for forensic science programs and to see what they offer.
So what do you want the public to know about students in the Lansing School District? I want you both to weigh in. If you could send the message, do it right now, give us your pitch to young people and adults for for considering the Lansing School District for an education. What do you say, Alex?
I just think that people see so much bad in the Lansing School District for really no reason. And, we're a group of hardworking students that are really committed to, what we're doing. We have a lot of successful people at Eastern, Everett, and Sexton, I'm sure. And, it's just, it's the same as any other school district, and in my opinion, better. It's just more of a community than just a school at the same time.
Great, and congratulations, Eastern test scores have
That's
gone
true.
up. So that's something to be proud of. And Alexis, what about you? What's your pitch to people at home who might be watching?
I think that they shouldn't just focus in on the negatives about the Lansing School District. There's way more positives than there are negatives, and it's all about choices. It's who you choose to hang out with and choose to make the right decision or not. And I think that's just it.
Well, nobody knows more about student life, I think, than you two, and thank you for sharing your feedback with us here today. I'm Bob Kolt, and we'll continue our conversations in the Lansing School District.